Well, now, let's get into our first topic. And it's a doozy. It is a doozy. Because we were about a few months ago, more than a few months ago, about a year ago, sobbing over the fact that a piece of our childhood was going away. That was Toys R Us. Was gone. Bankruptcy filed. The owner, founder, passed away. No more giraffe. Nothing.
Jeffrey.
Bazinga picked up some things
Yeah, some
that,
laser tag
that we've
guns.
used as props since then.
And we still have. I still have even like.
I
used
picked up
them,
a
yeah.
belt.
So, as reported out as the Wall Street Journal, Toys R Us proposal recognition plan contemplates a new, what do you call it, operating Toys R Us and Babies R Us branding company that maintains existing global license agreements. So they kind of backed out on the whole bankruptcy auction that was going to happen, which is really surprising because it's like last minute.
Yeah.
It is last minute.
Just the way they screwed off all their employees, and now they're going to try to resurrect their company without it. That's definitely surprising.
That's going to be the tough part, to hire people.
Companies
Now
don't
is this
do
just?
that.
Are they just going to do like an online thing or?
Okay, there's no word exactly what they're doing yet. They haven't
Alright.
revealed that yet.
Yeah.
So the change strategy follows the company consuming and controlling parties, a group of leaders including Solace, Alternative Asset Management, and other huge funds. The IP of Toys R Us is considered a valuable piece of, basically, to lenders, obviously, because anybody with that name, anybody who got a hold of that name, it's going to be valuable, because if you use that name, you're going to get attention.
Great, we gotta
Yeah, but
return
how
that. We gotta
valuable
return
when
that
it's
R
a-
now.
How valuable is it when it was a dead store? Like, they had been losing monies for decades, which is how they ended up in this situation. So it's not as valuable as they think it is.
So
It's
the,
like
well-
people. It's like people wanting a new Dreamcast, and it's like, yeah, I like Sega, but Sega is not in that boat. They're not worth
Yeah, well-
anything anymore.
Well, this bankruptcy hearing was going to have them valued at $11 billion.
Which makes no sense.
Well, they owe
Because if
500.
If they had that much value, they wouldn't have had to close down.
Because it says right here they owe 500 billion.
Yeah, they owe $500 billion. Yes. And they were
Okay,
worth
so
$11
there you
billion.
go. Then they're not. Okay, I don't care what financial trickery you want to use and say, well, they're worth 11 billion. If they owe 500 billion, they're not worth 11 billion.
Billion.
Don't care if they say they are, because they owe that much money.
Okay, and they put
They're worth
33.
a buck to me.
So the amount of people that were left without a job was 33,000 people. And what was weird, do you know they were hiring people during that whole thing too?
Oh yeah, they had to hire people to sell stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, do you know how retail works? They keep burying themselves without realizing that they're burying themselves, and then one day they look at stock that never sold, and all of a sudden they owe $1 billion in taxes, and that's when they start to collapse. Because
So
they
they buried it with
overbuy
all
stuff,
those
and then
ET
they're like,
cartridges?
they keep pushing it back, and eventually they just go out. They end up like having to pay that bill they haven't paid
But
for. You know
oh
what I
wait,
mean?
so the good news is that following after this happened just recently, it was like yesterday. Toys R Us private quality backers, Bain Capital and KKR and Co. will
Bain
be
Capital.
yeah
Bain Capital.
Bain and Capital.
Oh no, say that. Spell it.
Oh God, no.
Bain
Bain.
Bain
Bain
B-A-I-N
Capital.
Oh, B-A-I-N.
Bain.
Toys R Us. Bain
Anyway,
goes-
we'll be
Joker
creating
makes
a
toys that- oh my
$20
God.
million fund to distribute to workers, former workers.
Mm-hmm.
So they obviously acknowledge the public outcry how much they screwed people over.
Okay,
and
you
they
said
are
how
gonna
many
get
people
a
lost-
somewhat-
wait, how many people lost their job?
33,000.
32,000 people, $20 million. That ain't nothing.
Yeah, but at least it's showing something though instead of nothing.
What it shows is that they're paying for some goodwill with a very, very small gesture.
Yeah.
Like it shows that they don't give a crap and they just want goodwill. Is
Yeah.
what it's showing.
So
That's
okay.
$606 a person.
Okay, now let's get into because we have this headline.
Thanks.
We have this headline that happened, right? Toys R Us is coming back.
and buy a PS4 now.
So obviously they are going to make an online store. You mean that's easily a given, right?
Good, so they'll be out of business in a year because of Amazon.
They're gonna do it like CompUSA did when Tiger Direct took them over, and now Tiger Direct is defunct.
Well, yeah,
they're barely anything.
They're barely anything. But Toys R Us is a name, though. Okay, so this I want to get everybody's opinion on what you'd see as a Toys R Us comeback. I personally think if they went into got in line with like Hyperkin and all the other companies that do retro gaming, got the line to sell all their products, got hooked up with selling repo carts, for one.
Why do you always?
If they made their style to like market it off what they used to be because of the whole '80s comeback that's happening at the moment, they could live.
You gotta get your head out of gaming, though.
They could rebirth themselves.
Like, why do you always go down the insanity route?
What?
It's like you always overthink what.
I want them to bring out mask toys again. Come on.
Nate's gonna be like, oh, they're gonna sell me ground coffee and coffee cups and coffee on the side. Nate, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to discredit your thought. I think what your thought, it would be wonderful if we had a company that sold games. That's a wonderful thought. But I think your thought is so far-fetched and so far out there.
Now why?
Because it's Toys R Us.
Toys R Us. It's not Toys R Us.
You want them to go out of their way to go and make a connection with a niche market that's maybe 1% of the gaming market, and then go, we're going to take over the world with this.
Yeah, but okay. But the thing is, though, it's a niche market, but the name is like unanimous with an older generation, not a younger generation.
But
it's Toys R Us.
I care about that, dude.
Toys.
It's Toys R Us.
The whole point of Toys R Us was to go to the store, pick out that toy you wanted, and go home and play with it, and break it within a couple months, and pick up another one a couple weeks later.
But the difference, Ben,
shut your kid up when he's crying.
Yeah, not to go. Oh, you know what? I really want to pick up that Game Gear.
Yeah, but
let me go find that damn Game Gear.
Engage.
Yeah, but Ben, you got to remember, what do you call it? The company's not unanimous with the younger generation. Parents weren't going to Toys R Us. That's why younger generation doesn't care. It closed down.
Yeah, true. They were.
It's an older generation that cares.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Parents, the older gen. I'm not. Dude, I'm a retro gamer. I like retro games. I'm not gonna go, oh my god, Toys R Us is back and they're bringing me a Hyperkin. I'm just gonna go buy my Hyperkin on Amazon, along with everything else I can buy on Amazon.
They got to make something to make you want it.
Well, yeah.
It would be ridiculous to think that they're going to
might end up
such a
merging
small
with
market.
Amazon or something.
Well, no, I think Amazon,
what a company's been doing anyways.
Yeah, I think if that would have happened, that would have happened by the time this bankruptcy was up.
I don't know.
I think they want to bank off the name. Whoever decided this within it goes, this is an extremely valuable name. We have to use it.
I agree with the idea that they might bank off of the nostalgia, but they're not going to go out and partner with like these nobody companies that have an extremely small market and then try to corner an extremely small market that doesn't really exist.
Well, no, but like, say if they did decide to market toward an older crowd instead from now on.
What they would do is they would market towards more than just gaming. They'd be like, why don't you make a retro line of Folgers coffee and we'll sell that at our store?
No. I mean, okay. So, for instance, like I see people that come into, okay, so I see come into my work and that buy like an entire cart of like every single action figure that came out, right? Okay.
Yeah, or the latest Hot Wheels.
These aren't young kids. These are like men in their 50s. If you marketed your store, because it's Toys R Us, so they already know the name because they went there when they were a kid. Now they're collectors. If you marketed your store towards collectors of like action figures and retro gaming and comic books, you could really have something.
Call it the Toy Vault.
It would be a competitor to the Toy Vault.
I got a radical idea. It's a place at the mall called the Toy Vault.
Well, no, it would be a competitor to the Toy Vault with a bigger name.
There wouldn't be a competitor to the Toy Vault because the market barely exists. They would just pop up and no one would notice.
It used to be toys.
Big enough.
Toys were us.
It really isn't that crazy of an idea because if you look at who was actually going to Toys R Us during the closing, it wasn't young kids.
Listen, you have a partial thought that makes sense to me. I understand the collector's point of view. I understand the toys. I agree with the toys part. I think that's great. I disagree with retro gaming, retro everything. I don't think that Toys R Us can put that in there and make money off of that. Retro is coming back, but Toys R Us is not known for that. Toys R Us is known for they're known for toys, playpens, and extremely making you pay 10 times more than we.
Oh wait, but the one. Okay.
Hang on, no, Nate, because I gotta get on you about that. The people that were going to those stores were these older people. They weren't going there because they're Toys R Us fans. They were going there because they thought they could get toys that might be worth something someday.
Well, yeah, they were collectors.
That's all it was.
And it didn't happen. It did not happen. Nothing was cheap.
Oh,
they're not going to turn around and go to an online store that carries those things for normal price.
I got all my foot soldiers
because they're not worth it.
If they're going to bring Toys R Us back, bring KB Toys back.
And eat foot soldiers.
Or just be Toys R Us.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is though, because they were doing that and they didn't make it.
Yeah, but they got to come up with a better business model.
Yeah.
Okay, they got to be competitive.
The idea of going after a small market like that is.
Remember we were kids, how they had the commercial, I don't want to grow up.
Yeah.
Now they can say, I'm already grown up.
Well, the reason why this comes up to me is because obviously I wasn't really into action figures or anything like that when I was a kid at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have a distinct memory of going Toys R Us and picking up NES games.
That's your memory, though.
Yes, and
that's.
You mean that was Toys R Us to me.
I got Wizard Warriors 2 from there.
Yeah, that was Toys R Us to me.
That's what I'm saying to you, Nate. That's a niche market. You are a niche market. You do not make they're gonna have.
You're not the majority.
If you're there, any chance they're gonna have to be the Amazon of toys. They're gonna have to cover every variety of toys, but also sell other stuff because no one's going to that store.
I want you to do me a favor.
Online for just one thing when they can go to Amazon.
I'm not going to doubt your thought. I want you to do me a favor before. All right. I want you to research percentage of toys over percentage of games that Toys R Us sold, and I guarantee you that's going to be their model if they do it. If they know they did not sell that much in the games, they're not going to sell games. Because I can remember going there, and that section was bigger when I was younger, maybe because I was smaller, and I went there, it was downsized to like a one little corner, and no one bought it. Hence why they had how many Xbox 360s when we were there?
Oh, yeah,
they had like 12 Xbox 360s sitting there, and they're like, we can't sell this.
The big reason was because they had, they had overpricing compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
If they at least, how hard is it? You're right. Most Toys R Us were right next to a Walmart. How hard is it to go?
Exactly.
How hard is let's mark down more than Walmart. Let's keep our prices lower than their ass.
Because
if they go to online, it's not going to work either.
Well, it's not even that. It's the fact that Walmart bullies the people they buy their stuff from. Okay?
Oh, I know that.
They'll be like, "No, I'm paying 2 cents for that, not 5 cents." Toys R Us probably wasn't as demanding, and that's why they had to charge the higher prices.
Well, no, but like you say, you pick. Right, for instance, you don't have to do it on all your games, but your consoles at least. Go. We will take a cut on all these consoles. We won't take a cut on our games, but just get people in here to buy the console at our store. We will take a cut on the.
Well, that's a business tactic. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they could have done that.
But we're just talking games. I'm talking about everything.
You're overthinking it. Nothing they could have done could have saved them because the reality is they were the weakest of the big box stores out right now.
Yeah, they were.
And they're the first to fall. All these big box stores are going to crumble slowly with these online stores as it gets easier to get stuff online.
Yeah, no, you're completely right, Grim.
Like the next shitty one will be whatever one's barely making any money will be the next one to collapse.
I don't want them to. In some sense, I'd like to see some of our childhood memory places come back. I'd like to see Toys R Us come back, but at the same time, I don't foresee it happening for a very long time.
No, there won't be a brick and mortar for a long time.
And then, like I said, if I could bring back, the bigger question is if you could bring back any store, would you bring back? I think my biggest answer would be KB Toys. I feel like I bought more stuff from KB Toys when they're around.
Well, it was slightly cheaper too.
Yeah, and they at least had an adequate game section, and I remember going there for the wrestling figures every time I went there. Brand new wrestling figures.
They might start off. Toys R Us might start off doing like a seasonal thing.
Yeah, like a promotion kind of.
Like during the holidays.
Let's have a moment of quiet reflection for Funko Land.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Funko Land. I ordered many a games through your shitty catalog.
But either way,
Yeah,
but either way, what do you call it? We won't see a brick and mortar for a long time, but we'll see an online store, I'm sure. Maybe one day we'll see a brick and mortar store again, but it won't be for a while.
Yeah, they have to work on their pricing.
Let's get into some.